With the 5th season of Steven Universe behind us, I thought this would be a perfect time for a part 2 of all the jokes you missed in the show. Steven Universe is one of our favorite shows here at NerdWire, so today that's what we're talking about. I'm Whitney Lanningham, and these are all the jokes that went over your head in Steven Universe. Before we get started, I want to give a shout out to our Super Nerd sponsor, Albert Chacon. Thanks to guys like Al, we get to keep bringing you new videos and live shows every week. Want to help support NerdWire's YouTube channel? Head on over to the link in our description box to see which Patreon donation tier works for you. We'll thank you with shout-outs, blooper reels, surprises, and more. Can't donate your money? That's cool. Tell your friends about NerdWire and make sure you're subscribed. Now on to the jokes! Number 30. In this blink and you'll miss it moment, we find out that the pier has a very questionable name for their hot dog stand.
Funland?
Wiener in hand! Now that's the kind of hot diggity dog I can get behind. Number 29. What did I tell you about Funland having some weirdly suggestive names floating around? In this episode, Garnet gets brainwashed into playing the same video game for hours. And that game is Meat Beat Mania!
Garnet, you gotta come, quick! Ooh, Garnet!
Listen, all I'm saying is don't type Meat Beat Mania into your search bars. On the dark web, it's not exactly a cute piggy video game.
The only way to defeat the beat is with meat.
Number 28. The Uncle Grandpa crossover episode of Steven Universe brings us a sweet dirty joke gem, pun intended. For example, there's the plight of explaining just how Uncle Grandpa is related to Steven.
Uncle Grandpa?
So that would make him Greg's brother and father?
That would explain a lot.
So Greg's brother banged his mom? That's some Oedipus complex stuff way beyond my expertise. Number 27. In the pilot episode of Steven Universe, Amethyst gives Steven some money and a little bit of magic to go buy some donuts for the other gems. After mocking Steven for hanging out with 3 women all the time, Lars says this.
Just give me 3 donuts.
You want me to connect them with a hot dog?
Oh no.
First of all, the gems practically raised Steven, so that's gross. But second of all, you'd have to have a pretty big hot dog to get through 3 donut holes, if you know what I mean. Actually, what do I mean? What did Lars mean? That there would be some kind of dick human centipede situation where the dick could pass through all 3 donut holes simultaneously? Ugh. Number 26. At this point, all Steven Universe fans are aware that the gem fusion dances the crystal gems have to perform to join together can get a little sexual. Behold, the glory of Amethyst booty shaking! You gotta admit, Amethyst's part in forming Opal is totally schmexy. Alas, Pearl is not quite as amused. Number 25. Here's another gem fusion dance with a whole lot of pelvic thrusting. When Garnet and Amethyst merge into Sujolite, Garnet's dancing definitely gets a little X-rated. I love the queer representation in this show. All shows need to feature women diving headfirst into each other's caves of wonder. Number 24. We get even more dirty gem fusion dances in this episode, when Steven and Connie combine to form Stevani. But before that even happens, the gems have to teach Steven how to do a proper fusion dance. In this one, Garnet actually throws Pearl against a wall pretty suggestively, and asks Steven to mimic it. Of course he does, and he ends up right at Pearl's crotch level, shoving her against a wall. Pearl's face really says it all. But then we forget about that awkwardness and move right on into Amethyst teaching Steven how to body roll. Am I doing it right? Then we meet Stevani, and holy hell, the animators basically just do a long, slow pan up of all of their curvy bits. I'm down with all the gender fluidity radness in this show, but these kids are 14. But I guess if they're combined, maybe Stevani's like 28? I don't know, I'm a little looked out by it, and I think Pearl agrees with me that they're a little too young to be, fusing.
A gem fusing with a human being? It's impossible. Or at the very least, inappropriate.
Wow.
She thinks it's weird because Connie's a human. I think it's weird because they're 8th graders. Potato, potato. Also, is it just me or is there like a Tarantino level of Stevani's feet in this episode? Half the time they're dancing, it's not even their face, it's their wiki feet profile. Later on at a rave, Stevani is totally eyeballed up and down like a slab of meat by some douchey raver guy. Watch his eyeballs! This is creepy!
Hey, baby.
Ugh. Any minute now, Chris Hansen is gonna walk up in there and be like, Kevin, have a seat. He keeps hitting on them outside the club, so Stefani does a dance that causes them to unfuse in a rage. And that's when Kevin realizes that he's about to be on Dateline NBC.
That's 2 kids. I'm out.
Good for you, douchey rave guy, you're not a pedophile, yay! Number 23. After closing up at the Big Donut late one night, Lars is locking up outside and tells Sadie to hurry up. She tells him to give her another minute, and that's when Steven appears. But when Sadie finally does come out, girlfriend has a major case of sex hair and looks a little guilty.
Oh, ha! Nice timing, Steven. Hey, should we head over to Ronaldo's?
Yeah! I'ma get so scared!
Oh, ha ha! Night, Lars.
You cannot tell me that baby girl wasn't just getting some inside from Lars. Her jacket's all unbuttoned and her hair is clearly a mess. Plus, she seems super embarrassed to be caught by Steven. To be a teenager again, banging someone in the back of a donut shop. Number 22. When Peridot calls Garnet a permafusion, Steven doesn't get what's wrong with Garnet being made up of 2 gems. But then Peridot uses really interesting hand signals to explain it to him.
You just, you know, like a...
I'm pretty sure that's the universal sign for getting some. Which apparently is a worse reason to fuse together than fighting? Come on, Peridot, haven't you seen those Make Love Not War bumper stickers? Number 21. As we all know, Ruby and Sapphire are a great positive example of a lesbian relationship. But when they fuse together for the first time, they face the same kind of bigoted hatred that lots of LGBTQ people face when they come out.
How dare you fuse with a member of my court?
Forgive me,
You will be broken for this!
It's pretty obvious that fusing has some sexual undertones, made even clearer when Ruby and Sapphire talk about their first time.
And Happy, why am I so sure that I'd rather be this than everything I was supposed to be? And that I'd rather do this than everything I was supposed to do?
Aw, you guys, that's real sweet. Number 20. Dude, do y'all remember the Frybo episode from season 1? This is hands down the scariest horror show I've ever seen in my entire life. I still have nightmares about Frybo running around trying to murder people with Pearl's spear sticking out of his eye socket. But one of the slightly more disturbing parts of the episode is when Steven bewitches his clothes to attack Frybo, and then takes matters into his own butt cheeks.
Steven, are you all right?
I'm okay. As soon as I bared my butt, I knew he'd crack.
Honestly, that's the best battle technique in the world. Your enemy isn't gonna want to fight you anymore if you tackle him naked and screaming. That's just like basic fighting 101. Number 19. Whoa, dude, Steven's a really good friend. Peridot is always rude to him, and he still gives her his old tablet. Unfortunately, Peridot gets to experience the joys of pop-up ads for the first time.
Find cute roommates in your area.
I'm all set, thanks.
Yeah, find cute roommates in your area is basically the Cartoon Network equivalent of hot singles in your area. Gross! Number 18. In this episode, Steven tries to show Peridot a movie, but 2 of the characters end up making out. You know our babe Perry has some questions about the human mating ritual.
Are they attempting fusion?
No, well, my dad told me during certain stages in your life.
How could anyone indulge in this?
I love that Steven tries to give Peridot the same birds and the bees talk his dad gave him. It sounded like kind of a fun one. Number 17. In this episode, Steven unexpectedly wakes up in Lars's body. That would be terrifying enough if you didn't also wake up butt naked and covered in porn.
Huh? Whoa. Wait a minute.
I love that the magazine is just called Nice. But honestly, my favorite part of this episode is looking at Sadie's movie collection. I love that she very clearly has Hellhound, but it's covered in a dollar sticker so you don't see the hell part. Number 16. Duh, Steven Universe shorts are so cute. So dirty, but so cute. In this one, Amethyst gives Garnet a rather racy compliment.
Think of it like a hologram, but with mass.
Nice mass.
I know.
Love it when they use science to get away with swearing. Number 15. Steven has a dream one night that he's getting ready for the big dance with Connie. When he goes to answer the door, Garnet is on the other side. When he explains that he was waiting to take Connie to the dance, Garnet says this.
I'm going to the big dance with Connie.
Wow, the big dance. Don't do anything I wouldn't do.
You can distinctly hear seductive catcalling in the background from the Dream Studio audience, so you know she meant something dirty. Number 14. While Amethyst and Vidalia are making up for lost time, Onion decides to show Steven a very gruesome home movie.
Hey, that's your mom.
I'm ready!
What's she getting ready for?
Oh, Yellowtail. I think... Oh, it's happening!
Wait.
Yeah, bro, showing your friend a close-up of you crawling out of your mom's bloody vag isn't a weird hang at all. Number 13. You know Muppet Man from the Muppets? Or the 7 Kids in a Trench Coat gag? This is exactly the second thing, so I didn't really need to tell you the first example, I just compulsively include Muppet Man in like every conversation. Except this time, it's a totem pole of Onion's friends, and they flash someone.
Are we doing it? Hello, Suitcase sir. It is I, your faithful customer, Mr. Mature Man.
Okay, I know it was just a camera flash, but they were totally implying that they whipped out their dick. Number 12. Oh my god, of course Amethyst would be teaching the sex ed class.
When a mommy gem and a daddy gem love each other very much. Psych!
Honestly, out of the 3 of them, I'd most love to get the talk from Amethyst. Pearl would be way too clinical and Garnet would just be scary. Number 11. Like any good friend, Amethyst shows up to help Steven and his dad clean out Greg's garage. At first, Greg protests, but that's when Amethyst says this.
Hey man, it's cool. I've seen your junk before.
When exactly did you see his junk, girl? Hopefully not when he and Rose Quartz were still together, because that is against the lady code. Number 10. Later on in that same episode, Steven finds a box of his dad's old books amongst the mess. Greg encourages his son to look through them. Except for this one.
You'll like this one, and maybe we'll save this one for when you're a little older.
Yeah, something tells me you want to keep the Passions of Zanzor all to yourself, Gregors. But wait, this isn't the last time we see Passions of Zanzor pop up. In a flashback about Steven's mom, we see Greg and Rose Quartz laying in bed reading, you guessed it, Passions of Zanzor. Later on in another episode, the Budwick librarian has her nose buried in POX too. Damn, what is with this romance novel? Is this like the 50 Shades of this universe where everyone and their mom, literally Steven's mom, has read it? Number 9. When giant marbly orbs come to Beach City and start wreaking havoc, the gems band together to stop them. That's when Pearl says these things about them.
They just keep coming, and we don't even know what they are.
Man, I hate it when you have to fight off a pair of big old balls that won't stop coming and coming and coming. They're like the Energizer Bunny. Especially because when you defeat one of them, they explode white goop all over you.
You know that's going to affect people. That's can you do it a little less sexual?
I don't care.
We've never seen one this big before.
Or this gooey.
Amethyst, we need to be careful. We don't know what this stuff is.
Spoiler, that stuff is semen. Number 8. Upon discovering that Steven Jr., the goat, has already had a couple of kids, literally, Amethyst makes this comment.
Now that's something. Steven Jr.'s been busy. This makes you a grandpa.
Guess you could say that's one pretty horny goat. Number 7. Steven and Amethyst go swimming, and Steven decides to show off his sick cannonball skills. But that's when Amethyst takes it a little too far.
I think that was my best one.
You need to put more ball in your cannon.
Is that gonna hurt?
Dude, I don't have balls, but I can only imagine that belly flopping them onto the water would hurt real bad. Number 6. When Steven loses his favorite action figure ranger guy, he runs over to his dad's place to ask for advice and seek comfort. But when he tries to explain what happened, Greg says this.
I lost something precious.
Your innocence?
I lost Ranger Guy.
No, Greg, your 14-year-old didn't lose his innocence. And if he did, you should call the police. Number 5. While trying to save Beach City from a giant red eye in the sky, Steven finds his mom's old laser light cannon in his dad's garage. For some reason, Amethyst thinks that this is how you turn it on.
That's it.
What?
Come on.
Rubbing a child's genitals against the side of what looks like a gigantic sky bong isn't really my idea of saving the world, but you do you, Gems. Number 4. In this episode, Steven starts undergoing some changes to face the strange changes. Just like any teen, he realizes that as he becomes a man, he needs to start putting away childish things. Apparently like jerking off.
Wackerman Jr.! Oh, I can't be seen playing childish games like Wackerman Jr.
You're right, Steven. You shouldn't spend a whole day whackering. That would cause chafing. Try to limit your whackering to a comfortable amount for you and your peen. Number 3. Later on in that same episode, Steven is morphed into a weird long-haired Danny DeVito version of his older self. Of course, Lars and Sadie don't even recognize him when he walks into Big Donut, so it's especially creepy when Steven says this.
I need a reverse birthday. The king costume. Will you help me into my birthday suit?
Oh no! You didn't mean it like that, Sadie? But girl, good for you. If some old-ass Danny DeVito looking mother fluffer comes into your donut store and asks you to strip him naked, you totally have my permission to chase him out and whack him with a stool. Number 2. After witnessing Steven and Connie fuse to form Stevani in his garage, Greg tells them the story of the first time he saw rose quartz and pearl fuse into rainbow quartz on set of his music video. Apparently, the fusion dance that these two get up to was so racy that UK Cartoon Network took the scene out of the episode. I love rainbow quartz. Such a cutie. Number 1. The Rubies return to Beach City, and Steven volunteers to try to talk to one of them to see if he can find out why they're here. He gives them nicknames based on their gem placement, but one of the Rubies definitely has a gem right in the center of her chest. So here's what he comes up with.
Leggy, Army, Navy, Eyeball, and, Doc. Leggy seems like the easiest to talk to.
Doc? Really? Come on, Steven, we know you wanted to call her Titty. These are all the jokes that I found in Steven Universe, but I want to know which ones I missed in the comments. Like and subscribe to NerdWire, click to left of my face for more videos, and I'll be back next week to ruin your childhood.